My family canceled on my birthday dinner one by one. I ate alone, then found out they were at my cousin's dog's party. That night, I cut them off for good. They couldn't even be bothered to come up with a new lie. Just copy-pasted the same excuse like I wouldn't catch on. I'm Nathan, 32, and being the spotlight guy isn't my scene. I'm the one who shows up without a fuss, foots the bill, picks up the dry cleaning, and somehow becomes the designated driver at every family gathering, planned or otherwise. I'm not the favorite. That title usually goes to my cousin Tasha, my brother Owen, or whoever's currently in the middle of a drama episode. But I'm the reliable one, the guy they acknowledge in passing when rent's due or when they need to binge watch something on my Netflix account. It's funny how you transition from being part of the family to becoming their financial safety net. It sneaks up on you. You think they're just going through a rough patch, so you help out, it's family, after all. But then, your birthday rolls around, and suddenly everyone's too busy for you. It all kicked off a couple of weeks ago when I texted the family group chat, "Hey, thinking of having a birthday dinner at Amiki's next Friday. Nothing fancy. Let me know if you can make it. I'll even cover the bill." I always do. They stopped reaching for their wallets ages ago. Replies dribbled in, mostly thumbs up emojis or the classic "I'll try to be there for my mom," which translates to "I won't, but I don't want to argue." By the day of, only my Aunt Rhonda and her husband Paul confirmed. Even then, Rhonda added, "If Paul Scout doesn't act up." I should have known better. Still, I dressed up in my best shirt, reserved a big table for 10 or more, and sat near a window, full of hope. At 6 p.m., I was alone, sipping water. At 6:15, my brother texted, "Hey man, something came up. We'll celebrate another time." I read it twice. It felt oddly impersonal. 5 minutes later, my mom sent the same message. Then my uncle, then my cousin, like they planned it. I stayed, ordered pasta I didn't even want, and told the waiter I'd wait a bit longer just in case. No one showed. I paid the bill, left a generous tip, and walked out with leftovers and a kind of quiet anger that doesn't explode, it just freezes everything around you. The parking lot was mostly empty. I sat in my car, scrolling, until I saw Tasha's Instagram story, her holding a party hat over her dog, Nibbles. Caption, "Happy Bark Day, Nibbles." And there they all were, Mom, Owen, Aunt, all celebrating. I don't know how long I sat there, but eventually, I opened my banking app. Canceled the rent transfers for my mom, the loan repayment for Owen, the autodraft for my aunt's phone bill, stuff I'd been covering for a while. Then, I went to the utility dashboard, gas, power, water. All off. Not immediately, but by morning, they'd notice. Finally, I took Owen's spare car key, popped it in my pocket, and drove home in the dark. No messages, no calls, no questions. I let the silence do the talking. The next morning? My phone was blowing up, Mom, Owen, and Tasha all trying to reach me. The group chat was a mess with, "Is something wrong with the utilities? Nate, are you awake? Did the bank mess up?" My brother even threw in, "Bro, what's going on? Nibbles' party was last minute. You're overreacting." Overreacting? That word hit hard. Later, I noticed my mom's cryptic Facebook status, "Some people will punish you just for not being available on their schedule. Family isn't conditional." It got 4 likes and a passive-aggressive comment. So, I got this message from Rhonda saying, maybe if you appreciated him, he'd still pick up the phone. I didn't answer back right away. I needed a moment. Instead, I decided to dig into what was in my name, like whose name was on all the insurance policies, gym memberships, and stuff like the car registration. That's when it hit me. I wasn't just family. I was like the backbone of their whole operation. I was the one keeping everything running smoothly, the one paying the rent and covering utility bills. And I was about to vanish from all that. Later that evening, my phone started buzzing again. This time it wasn't just calls and texts, it was voicemails. Like, really long ones. Some were all over the place, angry, pleading, you name it. My brother left one starting with "Look, man," and went on a rant about how I always hold money over the family, as if being the responsible one somehow makes me the bad guy. Mom left 2 messages. The first one was all sweet, like, "Nathan, sweetheart, this isn't like you. We all love you. Please don't do this. Just call me." 2 hours later, she left another one that was more like, "I don't know what kind of grudge you're holding, but punishing your own mother, that's a new low, even for you." A new low for me? Seriously? I didn't answer. I couldn't. Not yet. I needed to process everything before I reacted because I didn't just want to cut people off this time. I wanted to lay it all out, show them every twisted favor they'd wrapped me up in over the years. All those fake favors and emergencies they'd cooked up. And maybe, just maybe, I wanted them to sit back and see just how much power I'd given them, and how little they'd done to earn it. So, I made a list. Starting small, I canceled the phone plan that was under my name. Didn't even give them a heads up, just logged in, hit remove user, and watched for that confirmation email. I imagined my cousin Tasha, sitting at the dog park and suddenly realizing she couldn't refresh Instagram. My uncle probably hollered into his phone before figuring out it was disconnected. And my brother? He probably blamed it on the provider because that's classic Owen. Then there was the car. I didn't take it back immediately. Let him use it a few more days, let him think everything was cool. Then, on Saturday night, I quietly parked down the block, walked up to his driveway, and drove off with it. The spare key still worked, and the car wasn't even locked. I left a sticky note on his second car, the one he barely drives because it's missing a taillight. It said, "Since I'm just a wallet, consider this a budget cut." By Monday, they were freaking out. My brother Owen took it to Facebook, posting something about how family means loyalty, but only until someone makes more money and suddenly thinks they're better. He didn't tag me, of course, because people hardly ever do that. But everyone in the comments knew exactly who he meant. A few even liked it. His girlfriend chimed in, saying, "You deserve better, babe." Better than what? The brother who paid your bills? The one who funded your 3-city move and covered your medical bills when you couldn't afford insurance? Yeah, I didn't respond. Instead, I emailed the landlord, well, actually my mom's landlord. You see, she was living in a duplex I owned, but technically I had the lease in my name for some legal reasons. It had always been a handshake deal, no rent, just help your family. For 4 years, I took care of taxes, maintenance, even the occasional repainting. But then I sent an email, official notice for her to vacate in 30 days or start paying fair market rent. I attached all the details, photos, a suggested rent agreement, payment info. Didn't even send her a copy because I knew it would get to her. And boy, did it. Within 48 hours, I got a furious email from her titled, "Wow, really? Yeah, really." Felt like I was poking a beehive after years of them buzzing around, assuming I'd never push back. Suddenly, I was the cruel one, the heartless one, overreacting. Each of them, mom, brother, cousin, they had their little spin on things, trying to flip the script that I was abandoning them, that I had changed, that I was punishing them for one mistake. One mistake, huh? Funny because when I scrolled through old texts, it wasn't just one. There were hundreds. My birthday wasn't the starting point. It was just the first time I opened my eyes. Like when they asked me to co-sign Owen's car loan because he needed it for a new job, then he ditched it to get into crypto 3 weeks later. Or when Tasha hit me up to cover her vet bill because Nibbles is like my baby, only to see her posting spa weekend selfies. Or when mom called, crying about the water being shut off again, and without a second thought, I wired her money. Every time, I didn't question it. Every time, I filled the silence with trust and ended up drained. And the worst part? The guilt. That quiet, constant feeling that if I stopped helping, I'd be the bad guy. That maybe I was being selfish. That maybe I was the problem. But standing there in the dim hallway of my apartment, with my phone buzzing nonstop, reality set in. I stopped having to pick up calls, and it hit me, guilt only works if you think you owe someone. I didn't owe anyone, not anymore. Just when I thought things were calming down, there was a knock at the door. It wasn't loud, just steady and rhythmic. I opened it to find Owen in the hallway. His hoodie was half zipped, his eyes were bloodshot, not from tears, but stress. He was holding his phone, his hand a bit shaky. "You took my car," he said. No hello, no sorry, just straight to the point. I leaned on the doorframe. "Technically, it's my car, but go on." He looked at me with a tight jaw and said, "This isn't how you fix things, man." I almost laughed. Fix things? You mean how you guys lied and bailed on me for my birthday and then partied with a dog instead? That wasn't the plan. Tasha said it'd just be a few people, he started to explain. I cut him off with, "Save it. You could have called. You didn't. You could have texted something real. You didn't. You could have shown up at Amy's cheese shop. You didn't. But now you want to talk because the gravy train's off the tracks." He flinched, good. Rubbing his temple, he said, "Look, we messed up. I get it. But you don't have to burn everything down just to make a point." I stared at him and said, "No, I don't have to. I want to." Then I shut the door, knowing it wasn't over yet. They were desperate, and desperate people make moves they can't take back. The next move wasn't from Owen, it was from my mom. 3 days after that knock, a thick envelope came for me. No return address, just my name in familiar cursive. Inside was a 2-page handwritten letter. The second page had an old photo of me as a kid with a birthday cake, my mom behind me, looking like the perfect parent. The letter started with, "I don't know when you got so cold, Nathan, but I miss my son." She went on about my childhood, all the things she sacrificed, like working nights to buy me a bike, never asking for anything back but love. She wrote about losing dad early and how hard it was raising us alone. Then she tried to hit home, saying, "You always understood, Nate. That's what made you special. You were the strong one, never complained, always helped." That stung more than I expected because she was right. I did help, but out of fear and obligation, out of thinking if I didn't pull my weight, no one else would, and that maybe I wasn't worth anything to them unless I did. She ended the letter with, "I hope you find your way back to this family before it's too late. We still love you, even if you've forgotten how to love us back." It was a guilt bomb wrapped in nostalgia, and for a second, it worked. Felt those old strings pull, but then I looked at the photo again. It wasn't the one I remembered. In my memory, that birthday ended with me crying, my cake smashed by Owen because I got the bigger present. Mom scolded me for causing a scene. That photo was the only good bit from that day, now used against me. That was the turning point. Next morning, I packed up the photo and letter and dropped them at her porch. No note, just silence, returned to sender. That silence didn't last long. The next week, they escalated by sending someone to ambush me. I was at a local cafe on my usual Thursday lunch break when I heard a voice I hadn't in years. "A book? Still acting like you're too smart for us, huh?" I looked up. It was Uncle Darren. If you've ever met someone who's slick and entitled, that's him. He'd burned bridges by borrowing money he never returned but always turned up during family drama, like a vulture circling a fresh wound. He plopped down across from me without asking, like we were old pals. I told them not to send a letter. I said, "Nate's a man. Talk face to face. But your mom's got a soft heart, you know. She raised you." I didn't reply. I was just staring at him, totally calm and expressionless. He took my silence as a cue to keep talking. "Look, I don't know what kind of tantrum you're throwing or what someone said to tick you off, but you're really hurting the people who care about you, buddy. Your mom's a mess, and your brother's been crashing on my couch. Are you seriously gonna keep this up?" I just blinked slowly and said, "Is that the script you came here with, or is the guilt trip just a little extra?" The smirk on his face faded a bit. "I came because I care," he said. "But if you keep heading down this path, you're gonna end up really alone, Nathan. That's not how family works." I leaned in and replied, "No, actually, that's exactly how my family works. They pretend that silence is love, that obligation equals connection, and that guilt is some kind of currency." He leaned back, his mouth twitching. "I'm not the bad guy here," he mumbled. I just said, "You were never even a part of the story," as I picked up my cup. He didn't leave quietly, he huffed, muttered something under his breath, and knocked over the creamer tray on his way out. The barista gave me a look, and I just shrugged and went back to my book. But that wasn't the end of it. It was more like a trailer, because 2 days later, I got an alert from my bank. Someone was trying to log into my account, again and again. Password resets, access denied. I changed all my passwords and locked everything down. I called my bank and flagged every account I had. Growing up with these folks, I knew how desperate they could get when things weren't easy. Then came the text that confirmed it all, from Owen. "You think you're better than us? Fine. Just remember who changed your diapers, who fed you. You owe this family everything. And when mom's gone, don't turn up crying." I stared at that message for a long time. That last line, though, it hit me. It was the one they always used to guilt me back. "When mom's gone," wasn't just a warning, it was a threat. They still thought they could manipulate me, that love was just about owing them something, that I could be scared into returning. But this time, no way was I just walking away. I was cutting them out for good. And I was gonna do it in a way that left no room for them to come back, no misunderstanding, no dramatic posts on Facebook. They were about to see what life without me was really like. I didn't respond to Owen's message, not a text, not a call, not a word. Instead, I logged into the software I use for managing my finances. I'd set up all these recurring payments and emergency funds for the family. Over the years, I had folders labeled for each person I was supporting: Mom's utilities, Owen's car payments, Tasha's pet emergencies. What was supposed to be short-term help turned into lifelong lifelines. Nobody ever asked when it would end, they just assumed it never would. That day, I deleted the entire family support folder. But I wasn't done. I spent the next week planning my final move, not some revenge ploy or big dramatic scene, just something clean and permanent. I sold the duplex my mother was living in. It was all in my name. I had bought it years ago after landing my first big client and had let her stay there temporarily while she recovered from a bad investment. But there was never any plan for her to move out, no talk of rent, no appreciation. It had become a monument to her entitlement, and I was done with it. I didn't evict her, I just sold the whole place to a development company that was buying up a bunch of properties in the neighborhood. They paid way above market price and didn't ask any questions. 2 weeks later, she got the notice from the new owners. I expected a storm, but what I got was silence for 3 days. Then a voicemail came. She didn't yell or cry. Her voice was cold and controlled. So that's it. You're cutting me out like I'm nothing, like I didn't raise you. You sold my home over a birthday dinner. She didn't apologize, didn't bring up the lies or the manipulation over the years. Nope, to her, I had just committed this massive betrayal. I'd chosen myself, and that was the one thing she couldn't forgive. I let that voicemail sit there, unanswered, like all the others. But I wasn't stopping there. I filed paperwork to legally separate myself from them, no more co-signed accounts, no more shared plans. I even changed the beneficiary on my life insurance, which I hadn't thought about until I saw it still had Owen listed. I donated the car I'd taken back from him, not sold, donated. He'd already trashed the inside, anyway. I got a new phone number, new SIM card, new carrier. I gave my new number to just 3 people, my best friend, my boss, and my therapist. And then, I moved. I didn't move far, just enough to get a fresh start. My new place has a security gate, and you can't get in unless I buzz you through. I kept it all under wraps, didn't post about it, didn't tell a soul. I just vanished from their radar. They didn't handle it well. My cousin Tasha had a bit of an Instagram meltdown, posting about toxic family members who forget their roots. It was obvious she meant me. One post showed her with a crying kid, captioned, "He can't understand why Uncle Nate doesn't love him anymore." Honestly, it almost made me laugh. Then there's Owen. He went another route, trying to get a mutual friend to pass me a message. The friend shut him down, saying, "He doesn't owe you anything." My mom took a different approach. No public drama, just weekly letters. Handwritten, and always with the same vibe, not quite sorry but more like practice sympathy. She'd start off gentle and then slide into gaslighting territory. Stuff like, "I never meant to hurt you, but you were always sensitive," or, "I wish you remembered all I've done for you." Sometimes she'd include old photos of us looking happy. I burned the first letter, tossed the second, and by the 5th, I didn't even bother opening them. Then nothing, no letters, no calls. It was the first time I felt what it's like to breathe without guilt hanging over me. I got back into the gym, started writing again, and even volunteered at a non-profit helping young adults transition out of foster care. They were impressed with my knack for managing finances, but I didn't tell them why I was so good at it. That part of my life didn't matter anymore. About 3 months later, I ran into Owen outside a strip mall. He was arguing with someone on the phone. He looked rough, skinnier, worn out. His shoes were scuffed, and he seemed exhausted. I was about to slip away when he spotted me. For a moment, he just stared, then he came over, but not in a rushed or angry way, just tired. "Hey," he said. I just stood there, quiet. He looked down and muttered, "You're really gone." I didn't say a word. Then he stopped himself, said forget it, and started to leave. He paused and added, "You know, Mom still checks the mailbox, hoping there's something from you." That's when I finally looked him in the eye and said, "She already got everything I had to give." He just nodded and walked away. That was it. There was no big reunion, no epic showdown, no miracle apology that changed everything. Just me, finally free. The last birthday I spent with them, I was alone at a restaurant, feeling humiliated and invisible. This year, I was in my new place, eating my favorite takeout, and getting video calls from people who truly cared. No guilt, no pretending, just peace. And as I closed my laptop, I realized that leaving wasn't the hard part. Thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real-life stories happening around you.